during this lockdown, one of the things I've been doing is, so when the lockdown happened, I got fed up of everybody selling desperately. Everyone panicked and they were selling. And I can understand that, especially in my work.
And it was really overwhelming. I just thought, you know what, I don't even know what I should be doing now, because I'm being told I should be doing all these different things in my spare time. I haven't got spare time. What are you talking about?
Absolutely. And so it's very tempting to suddenly say, I should get online to everybody. I should email everybody and say, buy a course, buy personal development for your people. And I went, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, even though, you know, it has a financial impact on all of us. I thought, the bosses of businesses, the bosses of teams right now are busy worrying about how they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing. They want to make sure everyone's going to still have a job afterwards if they possibly can.
Yes.
They're going to worry about budgets and everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer some stuff free.
Yeah.
And I'm going to offer these. What do people need? Well, right now they need resilience, habit change.
Yeah.
So they need real solid resilience stuff, not just go and meditate, although that's a great thing to do. They need some real practical stuff to do. So I'm going to offer those free because nobody needs to be worried about budgets right now, but the bosses also need to make sure their teams know that they care about their psychological welfare as well. And so I offered it out just generally, and I haven't stopped since. What was going to be, I'll spend some time in the garden and I'll think about content and I'll write some new stuff. And I've got my second book, I've got to write my second book. My publishers keep saying, are you doing anything? And, yeah, well, I absolutely run off my feet. But what's been really nice is some of the people who were on a course with me, one of them at least 14 years ago, who's in another position in a business and wasn't in a position of authority, so couldn't introduce me to people and wanted to get me in, could get me in because I was offering it free. And they've instantly said, why didn't you tell us about this before? This is great. And I've done sessions for them now online. I mean, they're in America and there's one in Australia. I'm getting up early and staying up late to do them. And now they've started saying, our people need this. Our people need this. So when we're out of a lockdown, we'll do that. I've not done it deliberately, but what has happened is people who wanted to get me in because they came on a course years ago.
Yes.
Are able to say, hey, I can get some stuff free. Wouldn't that be great? And that's great, because normally if you go and offer things for free to people, as much as the value of it is important, they think you're desperate or something like that. So it's been great. In fact, I have one client I did one for. Their boss has got to know. They came back and said, I've got 400 people. What can you do? So we're busy trying to work that out right now. Online, Zoom, till the end of lockdown. Boom.
That's going to be one heck of a challenge. I'm just thinking, how many people can Zoom accommodate?
Well, my license allows me 100 at any one time.
Okay.
I can buy a bigger license, but I actually prefer to be able to have some interactive stuff. When I do them as, when you have people who don't know each other, so people have registered and they come on like a webinar, I have some interaction, we do a few polls, I chat to people a little bit, but I can't put them in breakout rooms to discuss stuff because they don't know each other.
That's true.
And that would be cool. But when I have teams who know each other, so this guy has 400 people in groups and teams, I'm going to want them in smaller amounts and I'm going to give them a little bit longer so I can put them in breakout rooms to discuss what we're talking about and then come back. So it's much better, more like a workshop. So those 400 people won't be 4 groups of 100. They will be in groups of probably, some of them will be about 20, maybe a few might be in 30. So we'll see. And then I had another one yesterday come back to me and say, we'd like some more too. So yeah, it's a pretty busy time.
That sounds really awesome. And I'm really delighted that someone's keeping you out of trouble, because someone's got to. Yeah,
you don't want to leave me to just do my own thing, do you? That'd be dangerous.
That'd be really lethal. I do this thing in these interviews where I do something called a mythbuster. So I'm going to, this is my very flashy flashcard, just in case people can't see. If there is one myth that you could bust about habit change or professional speaking or motivational psychologist that you want to bust right now, hit me. What's the one myth you could bust?
I've slightly alluded to it already. A lot of people stand on stage and they oversimplify changing a habit. Okay. When you understand neuropsychology, the theory can be simple. It takes some time. One of the things you will hear people doing a lot of is visualize the goal. That's all you need to do. Visualize the goal.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that really cheeses me off. Okay. There's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. Admittedly, it is important to have a goal, but that's only part of it. And visualizing the goal every day is a fantastic thing, but then you actually need to change a habit to back it up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you have to do something. So it's a little bit like, you'll have probably heard this joke, but it's an old joke, but it's an old priest, and he's saying, God, I've been faithful he's praying to God. God, I've been faithful all my life. You know, I'd really like to win the lottery so I can do something with that money. So I'm going to pray to you, and I know you'll help me win the lottery.
Okay.
And nothing happens. Nothing happens. And so about a month later, he's down on his knees again. He's saying, God, please, I've been faithful all my life. I help the poor. I do good works. Please let me win the lottery. Nothing happens. He goes, God, this is a month later. God, I have faith. I know you can do this. Let me win the lottery. And all of a sudden there is a booming voice from God that says, Mark, help me out here. At least go and buy a ticket. And
he's right.
You know, there's something in there that says visualizing it is great. You need to have a goal, but actually you have to do something. And one of the things I teach is how to change a habit, how to physiologically change a habit. You have to do some stuff in there where you actually change your thought process and you drill the skill.
Yes.
So, and there has to be a certain amount of a little bit of what can I do to move towards this and how do I do it? And that the drilling the skill can be the bit that's a little bit hard work, because you have to practice that thing. But the really important thing is, yes, the idea is you can change. You can absolutely change a habit that has been plaguing you for years. Okay, you can do that. And that's what's so powerful. When you understand how the brain works and how you can rewire it, that's really powerful. But it doesn't happen overnight. So that's one of the myths I would like to bust, really. And it's very powerful. A lot of motivational trainers and speakers rely on telling powerful stories so you go out and you feel uplifted.
Yes.
What you need on top of that is them to have actually given you something you should really do as well, something practical that you do as well. So you go out not just feeling great, but you go, right, this is the plan, or this is the process I will go through that changes a habit.
So if we were going to give a tip to people who are watching or listening to this, I guess one tip could be check out your resilience webinar. That could be a good tip.
Yeah.
The way I have done, and actually it was pretty awesome. And I just think, I kept thinking, she's really good at Zoom. How do you do that poll? This is really interesting. I didn't know you could do one of those. That's my immediate thought. Not what you're talking about, actually teaching. You're teaching
Thanks
about
that.
I was thinking about the polling thing. That's actually quite a good idea. I must learn that. That's a really good skill.
Yeah.
I
I do a little bit on Zoom as well, because as a speaker, people do expect you to be good at this kind of stuff. And I've watched other speakers sometimes on Zoom, and I thought they really need to understand the medium by which they're talking.
Yeah.
So you've still got to have, when I do a speech at a conference, I have interaction. Even if there are several thousand, I find a way to have some form of interaction. And so it was important to me when I started doing Zoom stuff that I had the interaction. So polls, breakout rooms, stuff like that, you know, showing little videos, actually just interacting with people and saying, what's that picture behind you there? Not just talking and not pausing for breath. You know, actually letting people reflect is important. So I have been doing a few little 5-10 minutes on Zoom, just helping people out, even though that's not actually what I do.
That could be your side hustle if you need one. How to use Zoom. Some how to use Zoom, and that could be a little side thing. You know, if you've got spare time, of course, when you're sitting in the car, that could totally be your spare time.
So you're asking me about one piece of advice, I would say, and in this time of lockdown, we have time to reflect. So notice the habits we have emotionally. Okay, because this is about emotions more than anything else. Do have habits. Certain things trigger an emotion. Okay? And it is literally a firing in the brain. Okay, so all of our emotions are chemical responses, but because they give us an emotion, they feel often a lot more real than they are. So yesterday was my birthday, and the day before that, I was having a bit of a down day, as we often do. I was having a day where I felt grumpy. Yeah. And I noticed that when I felt grumpy, the filter on my head was of everything that everybody was doing that was annoying me, like they were doing it deliberately.
Yep.
And because I'm in lockdown, my son and his partner were living with us briefly for about 2 weeks before they moved into their new place when lockdown happened, and they haven't moved in. So there's 5 adults in this place now.
Okay.
So 5 adults in a house with our different mood swings can be a challenge. And I noticed I was having a mood swing. I noticed it was a habit, and I noticed there was a trigger to it. And I started to look at that and go, what's that trigger? That person hasn't done that deliberately. It's the thought process in my head that I should be fixing everything. I have a thing that says I'm a fixer. So if somebody's doing something and I don't know the answer, I should know the answer. I should be fixing it. And I realized that that was a trigger for my mood. And after that, then my brain started looking for other things. So I actually went out for that walk. And while I was out for that walk, I started dealing with that emotion and that belief that was sending me the trigger that said, oh, hang on a minute, I need to change that. So I started to change it. I started to get rid of the chemicals, first of all. Took a deep breath, got rid of the chemicals, and then I started to change that belief and said, actually, do you know what? You don't have to solve everything. That was another member of the household having an issue there. You don't have to solve everything. It's all down to you. So just notice that that's a habit. It's not a big deal. It's a habit. And so therefore, I've started to develop something. So that would be my advice. Notice the habits you have and start to work on changing those from the triggers you get.
Heather, it's been awesome talking to you. I have no idea if we've gone over our allotted time. Sorry, forgive me. I'm not even wearing a watch. I haven't even got a tan line anymore. I haven't worn a watch for 6 weeks. Haven't worn a watch.
As you know, I lost track of time this morning. Not only track of time, I lost the day this morning. I mean, I was like, so I ended up messaging you, so I lost track of time. What I really meant was I'd lost track of the day it was.
Oh, that's cool.
Very bad.
Well, I wasn't busy. So Dips has got the kids, so, oh, sorry, dear, it ran over. Why was that? Well, Heather was busy. What were you doing? I was making notes, honestly.
Working hard.
Yeah, I was working really hard. Heather, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I hope people can understand and can work out why I asked Heather to come onto this particular call, how she helps people feel great about themselves, giving them the confidence to conquer their world, like she did with me, like she did with Dips, like she did with the rest of our team as well. If you get a chance to check out her resilience course, her webinar, check it out. It's pretty cool. And you can get to Heather via LinkedIn as well and check out her website. Heather, it's been awesome. I will hopefully see you real soon in real life, which would be really good as well.
That'd be great. Don't you miss hugging people?
I'm going to hug like freaking everybody. So, people might think I'm having an affair with like 10, 50 people at the same time. Because I'm like, just give me a hug. I don't touch people. It's just not my kids. Yeah, I definitely miss hugging people for sure. Brilliant. Small things you appreciate, right? Small things. Definitely.
Thanks, Harps. It's been great. And if anyone's watching or listening, thank you very much. It's great to meet you virtually.
Thanks for your time, Heather. Have a great day.
You too. Okay, so I will now press stop recording.